Hello, Fiedelbogen here. To my fellow workers in the vineyard, worldwide, greetings. The title of today's talk is Feminism Poisons Women, a political statement. The present statement carries a harshly provocative title. That is deliberate, because the title is a hook. Our main purpose is to excite the listener's anger or curiosity and inspire further investigation. Our secondary purpose is to leave an indelible mark on the listener's memory, whether the listener agrees with us or not. So, what is feminism? How does it poison women? And what should we do about this? Our statement will involve these and related questions. Feminism is many things, but for now it will suffice to know that feminism is antagonistic toward men and all things male. We gain this knowledge both by long study of objective reality and by reasoning from an irrefutable premise, that feminism is the project to increase the power of women. That's what it is, the project to increase the power of women. This leads us to wonder precisely how far the feminist project proposes to increase that power, and we are forced to conclude that the project has no clearly stated upper limit. The feminist project, then, means to increase the power of women infinitely, and those who would insist otherwise must bear the burden of proof. To increase the power of women infinitely would naturally make female power clash with male power. Here women would confront a choice, to either rein in their own power or to go on increasing it by overriding male power. To choose the former would terminate the feminist project. To choose the latter would advance the project, but only with a steady erosion of male autonomy. Such erosion of male autonomy could have only one final outcome, a subjugation of men, along with any undesirable consequences this might entail. Hence, we conclude that the feminist project in its unfettered form can be none other than a campaign of anti-male aggression, that such a campaign is tantamount to war, and that such a war is bound to inflict collateral damage on humanity at large. To recognize that such collateral damage is bound to happen is simply to affirm that men and women share a social ecology, where damage to any part of the system has systemic consequences. Thus, to declare that feminism poisons women is to recognize such an effect as a systemic consequence. It matters little where the poison is introduced. It just so happens that feminism, which initiates an attack against men, sets the process in motion by poisoning men first, by subjugating them, by denigrating them, by compromising their human rights, by bending them contrary to nature. From this, the collateral effect ripples through the social ecology and taints the lives of men and women alike. The web of male and female existence is far too interwoven to confine the damage to men. You cannot poison merely half of a well. In the long run, to poison men can only poison women also. Therefore, since our study of objective reality leaves no doubt that feminism indeed poisons men, we may safely conclude that feminism poisons women. However, if you mean to enhance the well-being of women, it will not do to poison them. In the end, we oppose feminism because feminism poisons everyone. So consider the present statement a rallying call to men and women everywhere who oppose feminism. By our study of objective reality, we know that their numbers are considerable and, if the right stimulus be applied, apt to grow. Accordingly, we wish to grow politically awakened non-feminist numbers and bring about intellectual crystallization among those numbers, Most of all, we wish to create a public square effect, to break the silence so that everybody not only knows what's up, but knows that everybody else knows. We want each and all to realize that they are not alone, and to catch a glint of that realization in the eyes of others. The foremost obstacle to our proposed work is the myth of feminism. The myth of feminism. By that, we mean the orthodox narrative which the feminists themselves have fed to the world and which the world has swallowed, hook, line, and sinker. We mean the sanctioned interpretation of reality which wraps around the word feminism itself, so that no other sense can be admitted. Hardly a conversation anywhere does not lie beneath the shadow of feminism's narrative, and hardly a thought can take flight independently of that narrative. Such is the power of the feminist myth. It forms the beginning and end of all public discourse, and swallows our lives into an intellectual gravity well. As a controlling paradigm of the present age, the myth of feminism spreads its power over most of the earth. Opposed to the myth of feminism stands the reality of feminism, the part which it is not polite to talk about. It is this reality that we labor to unmask in peeling away the myth layer by layer. Our impolite counter-feminist project is to subvert the orthodox meaning of the word feminism itself. But that is only the beginning. Our project goes further in that we aim to take back control of the language, and along with it, the public discourse altogether. The myth of feminism is one with a system of feminist lying. Nearly all of feminism is predicated on a structure of lies and half-lies that prop each other up, and the reach of this system is not easily overstated. A slow indoctrination of the public mind has occurred in the last half-century. One dubious proposition after another has passed unchallenged, hardening into commonly accepted dogma and forming the intellectual substrate not only for progressively greater distortions, but for institutional changes predicated upon such distortions. Furthermore, the changes and distortions have crept into our lives and cemented themselves many layers deep. Hence, the original violation of truth is buried deeper than most people would care to search, even if they knew where to start digging. Our approach is post-argumental, meaning that the time for argument is past. Mutual quest for truth in good faith is a wasted occupation when you are dealing with feminists, for we have learned by hard experience that they have 1,000 tricks to sabotage this. Briefly, they do not wish to know what they do not wish to know. Likewise, they do not wish to make known what they do not wish to make known. Either way, they have a vested interest in concealment. So nearly everything they say promotes the myth of feminism and veils the reality of it. And if we consent to engage them on their chosen terms, we validate their discourse and defeat ourselves before we speak a single word. The feminists aim to keep doing what they are doing until they exhaust every inherent possibility which the feminist project contains. Their method is cyclical and dialectical, and they will redefine their project in a radical way whenever the original definition no longer serves them. That, too, is part of the feminist project. They will repeat this time and again, even contradicting earlier stated principles, if by so doing they can extract just one more drop of female empowerment. They will do all of this and more until some intervening power, human or otherwise, puts a stop to it. That is why we are post-argumental, because we know that persuasion effort is wasted on most feminists. who will always find a way to dodge, deflect, or derail anything we wish to communicate. We are not totalitarian. We are not the thought police. We do not wish to modify feminist belief, but only to uncouple that belief from the power to act upon it in pernicious ways. Briefly, we wish to modify outward feminist behavior from the outside. That is because we know they will never modify their outward behavior from the inside as long as they feel secure in their power. They're only human. Why should they change? So our policy is simply to increase non-feminist power, chiefly by growing our numbers and making our presence more keenly felt within the public discourse. This will modify outward feminist behavior because it will make the feminists less smug. They will draw back into their shells a bit and moderate their tone a bit, and that is what we want them to do. Every time they draw back a bit, we advance a bit, occupy more space, and operate with more freedom and ease. Thus secured, we become free and easy, and this draws more of the world to our side. Once again, to argue with these people in hope of persuading them is a wasted occupation. Our effort is to whittle down their power, a slice here, a slice there. So we direct our persuasive force at the many non-feminists who are ready, nay, eager, to be persuaded. In this way, we consolidate our own power and make our job easier. The master plan is to confront the feminist project with an autonomous power that goes its own way without consulting feminism. This autonomous power equates to the aggregate political will of non-feminist men and women everywhere. To say that this power goes its own way without consulting feminism means that it operates outside the myth of feminism altogether. That myth has been overthrown, and along with it, the power of the myth to organize personal or political life. Less abstractly, you may look any feminist in the eye and say, "Excuse me, I am not a feminist, so I am not bound to swallow anything you have told me." Remember that they do not know the chain of reasoning which leads to your conclusion, and since you don't owe them any answers, you have no duty to explain this. It matters only that by this one curt gesture you have vacated the myth and gone your own way. Truly, this is where the road branches off. The personal and political ramifications of such a gesture are without limit, and you have a lifetime to explore them. To be sure, that is a small victory, but the formula is what matters. In time, such individual victories will accumulate and join forces interpersonally, demographically. The micro will merge into the macro, and having reached a tipping point, will enter the public square, where the sum of personal power will become political power. In the end, this will generate a public polarization of opposed political wills. Non-feminist against feminist. Everybody will know, and most importantly, everybody will know that everybody knows. Feminism will go through an existential crisis where it is forced to negotiate coexistence with an other and made to lose its collective solipsism under the harsh glare of the world's gaze. The other is the combined political will of non-feminist men and women everywhere. The introduction of non-feminist alterity, the sheer otherness of all that is not feminism, will reload the scales of power and alter the nature of the game. We have reached our verdict about feminism for well-considered reasons, but cannot hope to unfold these within the scope of the present statement. Furthermore, it would not serve our present purpose to do so. The business of the moment is to connect with affinitized minds everywhere and we trust their nascent intuition to weigh the veracity of our conclusions. We are often told by feminists that we don't know what feminism really is, and admonished to read feminist books. In fact, we have studied a great amount of feminist literature over the years, but we have drawn from these readings a very different conclusion than the various writers intended. Simply stated, we have refused indoctrination. We gauge the words of feminist authorities as we would gauge the words of politicians, with an eye to their duplicity. Some of them may be cynical and others may be self-deceiving, but never do we take them at face value. We know that these words, which conceal as much as they reveal, will not explain the living truth of feminism as it operates in the world around us. So that is why we confront feminism not merely as written words in a book, but as a factor in our lived experience, an alien force encroaching on our world and manifesting through its consequences. We aim to subvert the orthodox meaning of the word feminism, and we begin by studying feminism's consequences. We say that feminism's excrescence is its essence. What feminism excretes or oozes into our lives is not accidental but foundational. It marks feminism as feminism. This essence resides along the interface where feminism breaches our world. It does not dwell within the explanation that any self-declared feminist prepares for public consumption, nor does it dwell within the private ideology of such a person. So if you want to know what feminism really is, you must look at the world around you. As non-feminist men and women, we reject the myth of feminism in toto. We know that the feminist project is to increase female power with no stated limit, and this same knowledge is our key to the reality of feminism. Make no mistake, we know with precision and clarity what feminism really is. All feminist words or actions, even the ostensibly laudable ones, serve to increase female power in one form or another, or to conceal some illicit motive. Observation over time has borne this out, for we see that feminism's accomplishment has been to pile up advantages for women in a one-sided way and to absolve women of moral accountability, always with a subtext of female victimhood and female entitlement. So when we pronounce the word feminism, we are speaking of precisely these things. We identify these things as the core of feminist reality, and assert that if you took these things away, feminism would effectively cease existing. The myth of feminism, which governs the orthodox meaning of the term, dwells continually on the theme of so-called equality, and this theme operates as a sub-myth with a hugely powerful halo effect. One has only to intone the word equality to invoke the power of a fetish, yet the word amounts to little but a conversational windsock. The concept behind the word amounts to a mental rainbow, meaning a pretty thing that exists in the mind. As with an optical rainbow, it shimmers on the horizon and invites pursuit, but stays forever out of reach. In real life, the word equality is feminist double talk, which, if translated into plain speech, means as much power for women as we can grab. Here again we see the principle confirmed that feminism is the project to increase the power of women. We must understand that the project would grind to a halt if it were constrained by clear rules and fixed goals. That is why so many versions of feminism operate simultaneously. Feminism's drive for power cannot be sustained without endlessly switching the rules and pushing the goalposts further down the field, and the chimerical notion of equality serves this strategy to perfection. It is this, the reality of feminism, and not the myth, which holds our interest. In the end, feminism is precisely what we, as non-feminist men and women, declare it to be. We can't help wondering why mere self-description as a feminist bestows any special authority to define feminism. Feminism's inconsistency, fuzzy boundaries, and failure to self-police makes the definition of it a universal concern and an open shop. You are as much entitled to call feminism a destructive force sweeping through my world, while unindoctrinated into feminism, as to say the same about a tornado, while uninstructed in meteorology. No, you don't need a weatherman to know which way the wind blows. What feminism is for us as non-feminist men and women is objectively as true of an assessment as what feminism is for a self-described feminist. Here we may anticipate the bleating lament, "But that's not really feminism," to which we can only reply, "Oh, yes it is. We know best of all where the shoe pinches our foot, and that is how we know what feminism really is." And we may anticipate the related lament, "What's that got to do with feminism?" to which we can only reply, "Feminist, you will make this clear to yourself in the fullness of time." We do not speak incorrectly about feminism. Rather, we speak the complete truth about it, minus feminist approval. Feminism's greatest lie is a lie by omission. It does not tell the complete truth about itself, not even to itself. As politically activated non-feminists, we intend to make good on their omission, and that they will hate what we are doing shall not deter us. We know that in the end, the only way to stop the feminists from playing games with the word feminism is to claim that word and control the meaning on our own account. Hence, we declare the definition of feminism to be fair game for non-feminist men and women. The feminists will check their feminist privilege and resign themselves to this. And this concludes part 1 of Feminism Poisons Women, a political statement. Part 2 will be given in the recording which follows. The complete text for this article is linked in the low bar of the present video. Fiedelbogen. Out, 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 out. Hello, Fiedelbogen here. To my fellow workers in the vineyard, worldwide, greetings. The title of today's talk is Feminism Poisons Women, a political statement. The present statement carries a harshly provocative title. That is deliberate, because the title is a hook. Our main purpose is to excite the listener's anger or curiosity and inspire further investigation. Our secondary purpose is to leave an indelible mark on the listener's memory, whether the listener agrees with us or not. So, what is feminism? How does it poison women? And what should we do about this? Our statement will involve these and related questions. Feminism is many things, but for now it will suffice to know that feminism is antagonistic toward men and all things male. We gain this knowledge both by the power of women infinitely, and those who would insist otherwise must bear the burden of proof. To increase the power of women infinitely would naturally make female power clash with male power. Here, women would confront a choice, to either rein in their own power or to go on increasing it by overriding male power. To choose the former would terminate the feminist project. To choose the latter would advance the project, but only with a steady erosion of male autonomy, long study of objective reality, and by reasoning from an irrefutable premise that feminism is the project to increase the power of women. That's what it is, the project to increase the power of women. This leads us to wonder precisely how far the feminist project proposes to increase that power, and we are forced to conclude that the project has no clearly stated upper limit. The feminist project, then, means to increase the power. Such erosion of male autonomy could have only one final outcome: a subjugation of men, along with any undesirable consequences this might entail. Hence, we conclude that the feminist project in its unfettered form can be none other than a campaign of anti-male aggression, that such a campaign is tantamount to war, and that such a war is bound to inflict collateral damage on humanity at large. To recognize that such collateral damage